Hi, I'm Audrey. I live in the Napa Valley where we believe that food and cooking are a joy and a pleasure, not a burden. I'm going to be sharing some of my family's favorite recipes. I really love a good home-cooked meal, so I'm still cooking. Today, I'm going to prepare smoked salmon spread. This recipe has been in our family for a long time. And I remember when I found it in a cookbook and I thought, that looks really good, but something I do differently is that I add more smoked salmon than it calls for. And it's interesting because one of my sons worked at an upscale grocery store and they sold smoked salmon spread in their deli. And he said, Mom, theirs is not nearly as good as yours. So he asked the manager if he could use my recipe. And the manager okayed that. And so that was a plus for sure. Okay, I want to show you the kind of smoked salmon that I bought for this. It's called Wild Smoked Sockeye Salmon. And it's hot smoked with cracked peppercorns, mustard seed, and lemon. And that's what it looks like. And all those seeds and the peppercorns are right there in this one that I have already shredded. So do I need any more pepper? No, I don't need any more pepper. There's plenty because there is so much on the surface. Okay, so we take some cream cheese. That's an 8-ounce package of cream cheese. And if you don't want to do it by hand, you can certainly use a stand mixer or a hand mixer or whatever. I'm just going to do it by hand because it's easier to talk to you when I'm right here at this cart. Okay, so that's one 8-ounce package of cream cheese. It is not the low-fat one, it's the regular fat one. Sometimes I use the low-fat one, but I thought, no, I'll just use the regular one today. Okay, and then I'm going to add a 1/2 cup of sour cream. And that's what's in this bowl. And sour cream gives it a little tang, of course, which is nice. And I have to tell you, I am old enough to remember when there were no stand mixers or any kind of electrical mixers. My mother stirred cakes by hand, just like I'm doing with this smoked salmon spread. And you know what? It worked. Her cakes were wonderful. Okay. Now, I'm just going to put a pinch of salt because smoked salmon is fairly salty anyway. So there's a little pinch. I'm not going to add pepper. Remember, peppercorns are right there in the salmon. And I happen to have a lot of dried onion on hand, and so I'm going to use that. And I'm going to use a tablespoon of dried onion, which I've kind of cracked into smaller pieces. If you're using regular onion, you would use 2 tablespoons. So there goes a tablespoon of onion. And this lovely herb that I have here is dill weed. And the original recipe called for a very small amount, but I'm going to put a tablespoon because I like the dill flavor. I smell that, and it smells like opening a jar of dill pickles, of course. It smells so good, and it does add a wonderful flavor to this spread. So, and it adds all these little green flecks, of course. So far we have the cream cheese, the sour cream, the dill weed, and a pinch of salt. No pepper, because the pepper's in the salmon. Now, this is a 1/2 pound of smoked salmon, And when I shredded it, I was very careful to look for bones because nobody wants to come across a bone. And they usually warn you, you know, the bone might be in there, but fortunately there weren't any bones. And so I shredded it rather finely, and now I'm going to put it in there. And like I said, this is a half a pound. The original recipe called for 4 to 6 ounces. This is 8 ounces of salmon. And I just think that makes it so good. You know you've got smoked salmon, and you just look at the color. And you can imagine what this is going to look like when it's all mixed in, because colorful salmon is going to help make this a beautiful color. And a key thing for this kind of a dish is to make it ahead of time, like the night before is even preferable, so that all these flavors have a chance to meld. And then when you're going to serve it, let it warm up for about 15 minutes. That's always a good idea. Okay. Now, what do I serve with this? Well, most people serve crackers or bagels or some such thing as that. But I'm going to show you something else that you can serve, especially if you don't want the carbs. Okay, bear with me here. This is just about mixed pretty thoroughly. And that's what it looks like. Carrots and celery. And they're wonderful when you cut them this way, because you can put some of this spread right on them and eat it. Of course, the flavors haven't really blended yet, but it's still quite tasty. And I'm going to show you how to cut them this way. See the celery and the carrots. And because I took lessons in how to prepare Chinese food, and especially stir fries, I learned how to cut these on the diagonal, and it's easy. Let me show you how. I buy carrots with the stems on them, and I just wash them really well, and I don't even have to peel them. So let's cut that end off, and that end off, because we don't want those. Okay, and so you just put a good sharp knife at a slant like that. You don't want to make them too thin. Those first were a little thin. But see how easy that is to make them on the diagonal? And I keep a container of these in the fridge. So if I need a little vegetable for a snack, or if I want it for my dinner, then I have it. Okay. See that? Works beautifully. Much better than having a carrot or celery stick as far as putting something on it. These are little scraps, which I'll probably just eat another time. Okay, that takes care of the carrots. Now the celery. It's still the same idea. Put your knife at a slant like that. Isn't that beautiful? And you want celery that's crisp. You don't want the wilted celery. And if there are some extra strings, you can just pull them off. But I pretty well take care of the strings before I wash the celery, or after I wash it even. And I've heard some people use a potato peeler to take care of the strings. But see how easy, and it just makes beautiful slices. It's so attractive. Let me show you. Okay, so crackers, bagels, carrots, and celery. And who knows what else somebody might think of. So, enjoy, and thank you for joining me. I hope you're still cooking too.